Well, why aren't they facing federal charges? Why are they being released the same day? It's two tiers of justice. So Trump didn't take the bait. He didn't take the bait at all. And he continues. And the host actually says, well, the J6ers were convicted. And at that point, the crowd audibly laughs at her.
What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But, sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to bring
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to ask,
would you pardon
what's going to happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system.
They were convicted. The entire crowd laughs. You're watching Donald Trump control that entire room. There were people there that didn't like him. It seemed like the overwhelming majority of that crowd were on the side of Donald Trump. And this is the Black Journalist Conference. Shouldn't they have turned on him moments earlier when he said that diabolical racist thing about Kamala Harris? Well, it turns out they didn't. They were actually on his side. And Trump takes control again. And he continues to bring up Minneapolis and the BLM, Summer of Love. He brings up Seattle and the CHOP zone. Remember that? Remember CHOP? He brings all that up when she's trying to say, are you really going to pardon J6ers?
How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis, how come the people that took over a large percentage of Seattle, how come nothing happened to them?
Yep.
How come the people
But, sir, we're talking about people that were seen beating officers with flagpoles, dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that video, sir?
Oh, really? Well,
you would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face.
Ashley Babbitt.
Who was protesting. They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Yep. Nobody died, but people died in Minneapolis. You know, people died in Minneapolis. And nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people. But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in. What about that?
What about that? Have you heard Trump talk like this yet about J6 protesters? I have not. And it's refreshing to hear him push back on this narrative that we were insurrectionists, because that's not the case. That's not the case at all. And Trump, again, he controls the conversation. He controls the narrative. And he says, listen, about J6, nothing in life is going to be perfect.
Look, nothing is perfect in life. But you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C., they were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying. They were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that.
And then he brings up the lawfare. I thought Trump controlled that entire conversation. They're going to isolate and focus on the Kamala Harris line. I think that's going to backfire on them. I think the Kamala Harris line actually makes her look like a clown. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm biased. But I don't think that this was the biggest statement to come out of that interview.
You believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman.
I respect
historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile.
Yeah, you should ask her that. I thought it was hilarious. And he's right. Kamala Harris leaned into her Indian heritage when she was in California as a senator.
Okay, so what we're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like our thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah, everybody was so excited.
Okay, it legitimately sounds like when she says Indian the first time, it sounds like she goes, "You're an idiot."
No,
if you listen back, it kind of sounds like she says idiot. I know she means Indian, but it sounds to me like she said idiot.
Yeah, she says Indian. But the thing is that Kamala Harris embraced the Indian heritage for a long time. And that has disappeared in the ramp up to 2024. She was the first Indian senator of California. Then she was the first female black vice president. Now they want her to be the first black female president. Which is it? You want to play identity politics, you're going to open yourself up to those games. And Vivek Ramaswamy made that point on Fox News last night.
On a very personal level, my parents were immigrants to this country, legal immigrants from southern India. Very same part of India that her mother also immigrated from. I think it's a hard fact, Martha, it's just a fact, whether you like it or not, that many Indian Americans in the United States are indeed somewhat offended by the way Kamala has suddenly cast aside the Indian American side of her identity. She leaned into it when she ran for office in California. Big Asian American and Indian American population. So she wore that when it was convenient. She's wearing a different identity now when it's politically convenient on a national stage.
Is Vivek Ramaswamy racist for saying this? Asking for a friend. I would think Vivek Ramaswamy would kind of understand what the Indian community is thinking, right? Isn't that we're supposed to lift up voices? I wonder how the Indian community feels about Kamala Harris pushing that to the side to now be the first black female vice president, the first black female president, attempting to be. It does seem like she's really leaning into the black part of her heritage for political reasons. And that's the joke. That's the joke in and of itself. Nobody's questioning if she's black or not. We're questioning why she's black now, but before she was Indian. Why is the emphasis on black now, but before the emphasis was on Indian? I think it's a fair question.
Personally, I don't think we should be relying on these ethnic identities at all. We're actually American. And the problem is when you're Kamala Harris and you actually do lean into your identity politics, then you open the door to that type of criticism. But if you ask me, that shouldn't be how this election is decided one way or another. It should be decided on our own identity as Americans and what our vision is for the future of the country. And the number one thing missing in Kamala Harris's candidacy is that she lacks that vision for the country.
He's absolutely right. Listen, Kamala Harris is campaigning on just a few things. Fear when it comes to gun control and abortion. Those are really the two big wedge issues. And the other thing she's campaigning on is Orange Man bad. She never, ever talks about what she's going to do for the country. She's not going out there and making promises to Americans the way Trump does with no tax on tips, no taxes on Social Security. She doesn't have that platform. She doesn't. It's really insane to see. And the media is going to latch on to the Kamala, is she black or is she Indian quote. That's what they'll lean into. And they'll call Trump all the names they were already calling him beforehand. Oops, I accidentally hung up on Rick. Let's go to Pius on Harris. What's up, Pius?
Hi, Chris. This is Pius. I'm just calling to put my input on what is going on. I'm a black man myself. I think it's a disgrace for what she stands for. And whoever votes for that lady, I say disgrace to the community. I don't even know why this election is closed in any way, because they have no issues to run on. All this she's pushing is race. I think it's a disgrace. I think black people need to stand up, because Trump did more for black people than any other president ever, including Obama and whoever you can think of.
Democrats only care about black votes once every 4 years, my man.
That's it. People still voting for them. It makes me so angry. I was beating on my car just listening to all this nonsense.
I'm with you, man. It is infuriating. Right. And the media is going to highlight that one quote and ignore all the other great things that he said. I appreciate your call. Thanks for calling in. Call it anytime. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
U.S.-Russia prisoner swap. Israel claims to have killed another Hamas leader. And the process to formally nominate Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee has kicked off. Details at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. It's 9:57 on Super Talk. My name is Chris Hand. It's also a big day here in Middle Tennessee, primary day. We got a couple friends of the show that are out there running. One of them is Chris Spencer. He's running for state senate out in Gallatin, Trousdale County. And, we're pulling for him. Make sure you get out and vote. Voter turnout is a thing. We need everybody to go out and vote. Another guy that I'm pulling for is on the line, Tom Davis. He's running for the 4th Congressional District of Tennessee. All my Murfreesboro friends. This is the guy that I'm pulling for. Tom, how's it going today?
Hey, good morning, Chris. Yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm pretty confident in the way things are going. And it's actually, I got to close my computer down because I'm watching you on YouTube, and it doesn't match.
I think that real quick, in case anybody doesn't know you, I want to give you a minute for your elevator pitch on why you deserve to be the congressional rep for the 4th District of Middle Tennessee.
Okay, no compromise on DEI in the military, no compromise on deficit spending. My background in the Army and then also as a police officer and just my life in general have lived on that. We can negotiate, but there are things I will not compromise on. In addition to that, it has been too long that Congressman Desjardins has been there. He was first elected in 2010, and mediocre results at best, I think. And we just need some leadership in Washington, D.C. to kind of gather us as Republicans, conservatives, and to hold that line in the concrete and stop the madness and push back on the road to ruin that is what we have going on in D.C.
If you do win in 2024, what is your vision 2025 and into the future for the 4th Congressional District? How are you going to be kind of running that area?
My vision is that I work extremely hard to shrink the government. We need to get them out of our lives. That's the biggest problem we have, and that I hear in the district too. Too much government down in us. So I fight for that, and I fight for repealing 1934 National Firearms Act, 1968 Gun Control Act. Get rid of that mess and taking back our rights. And like I said, the spending, getting that federal government under control, cut the bureaucracy and all these staffers and that deep state. That's where it's at. Well, to cut that stuff out, and that's where the funding comes from, is the House of Representatives.
Are you out and about today? Are you meeting anywhere?
I'll be on an election watch tonight in Warren County at the county admin building. Just my normal day. I've got. I think I'm going to go. I got a couple rifles. I need to confirm 0 and put an optic on another one. And other than that, I'm just kind of waiting for that party.
I love it, man. Well, good luck. I'm pulling for you. I'll be voting for you today. And anybody else that doesn't know about you, where can they find you to learn more as they make this decision this afternoon?
The biggest one is Facebook. That's Tom Davis for Congress. You can find my website, thomasedavisforcongress.com, and then YouTube, Tom Davis Tom Davis TN4.
All right. Hey, appreciate you, Tom. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I started working in the early 60s.
O'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Tracking more excessive heat and humidity during the full forecast in 2 minutes. Americans freed from Russia. Let's get the very latest from Sherry Preston.
2 Americans coming home from Russian detention. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gerskovich and former Marine Paul Whelan exchanged as part of a Russian prisoner swap. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more from the White House.
President Biden is